Hello everyone, my name is Angela Andersen and I am the visual art teacher at Queen Margaret School. We're here at Just Jake's restaurant in Duncan, and every year we have the benefit of showing student work at this location. It is such a great space to show in, huge brick walls, lots of clients and customers coming in, very warm environment, and of course Liz and Lance have been so welcoming to Queen Margaret School students for the last 20 years. This year, of course, is a little bit different. The restaurant is closed for in-person dining. However, they do have a patio that's open, and they've assured me that if anyone comes and dines on the patio, they're welcome to come in and take a look at the show. So if you get an opportunity to come down here, please do so. I know it would be very much appreciated by the restaurant, the people who work here, and the students who are showing here currently. The show will be up until May 30th, the end of the month. So it's up for the full month of May. This show is also a little bit different in that we decided to make it a little bit smaller, a little bit more special for those advanced placement students that are ready to launch into their studies as designers and artists. They've worked extremely hard to develop their portfolios this year. And we thought, we being Alexandra Paul and myself, thought it might be a nice opportunity to not only honor those students by giving them their own show, but also to honor the unique relationship that we have with this special group of students. As mentors, I learned so much from my students. There are so many interesting conversations and ideas that come up in our group that not only inspire the students, but they also inspire Loretta and I as working, practicing artists ourselves. So this show is dedicated to that mentor-student relationship, that wonderful, magical, privileged space that I have as an artist and a teacher to work with these young, creative, developing artists. I think of them as young artists, not so much as students, just artists who are younger than me. Anyway, this is one of my pieces behind me here. This is a tree that can be found on East Sioux Park, and it's an arbutus. And there's also a piece in the show by Loretta. The rest of the show comprises of selected works that the students have chosen to showcase for this particular show. So just immediately to my left, we have a work by Amanda Alves, and it is a digitally altered photograph of her mother. Amanda is really interested in capturing the conversation and the relationship, the unique relationship that happens between artist, photographer, and model. And the work is more than simply a record of the model or an expression from the artist. It strives to be a record of the developing conversation and relationship that happens in that modeling session. So in Amanda's statement, she writes about how her recognition and awareness of her mother as a distinct human being, separate from herself, separate from her status as mom, became richer and deeper through this photo session. We have next to Amanda's piece a beautiful graphite drawing by Chen, and I have learned so many things, as I mentioned, from my students. From each student I learn something different. And in the conversations that I've had with Chen, I've learned a number of things. I've learned resilience. I've learned graciousness. Chen is the most courteous and kind, hardworking student I've had the privilege to work with. And in his pencil drawings, he started off very unsure of where this journey was going to take him. And it didn't take much encouragement, really, for him to decide to stick with it. The AP program is a very challenging program. It's first year university level, and it asks the students to really dive deep into their voice as artists. It's not about assignments that I give the students, it's about the students starting with an inquiry question that comes from their own experience and their own background and their own thoughts and experiences in the world. So Chen presented me with a drawing last year that was a graphite drawing of his house, sidewalk, a bucket, and a garden tool just left abandoned as if somebody had just walked out of the scene. And it had that feeling, that beautiful feeling of being a still moment in time, as if, you know, I just left me asking, where have the people gone? Who was this person that just dropped these tools and walked out of the scene? And why aren't they here? And it had sort of almost an Alex Colville kind of feel to it. And Chen has stuck with that, and we've had many conversations about how do you capture a moment in time and still have that sense that somebody was present, that somebody has just stepped out and they're maybe going to come back. And how do you tell a story with that concept of time? So this piece is one of his more recent pieces. He's worked really hard, not just to develop his technical skills, but also to build that narrative and that concept in his work. Above Chen, we have a work by Zhang, and Max is such a fascinating young man. He's very interested in math and science and asks a lot of really deep, powerful questions and thinks deeply about concepts of the world that probably escape immediate observation. He's a deep thinker, and his love for math is coming through in this work. Also time, a sense of time, again, and Chen and Max have these great conversations about concepts of time and constructs of time, and how that can be expressed through mathematical principles, and what parts are left out of that conversation. And I think for Max, that's where the art provides this space to ask questions that don't necessarily have answers that can be written down. We have next to Chen and Max, we have another work by Amanda, and Amanda has been developing not only her skills as a portrait photographer, but also, as I mentioned earlier, using that vehicle as a way to enrich in her relationships with her peers and with her family. Moving on to the work of Landa. Landa Yang is one of our AP students. This is her second year in AP. She started in grade 11, and this is a I can't remember if this was her 2D or drawing portfolio, but at Queen Margaret School we have 2 courses in visual arts, and next year we'll have 3 offerings in visual arts at the advanced placement level. We have 2 students in this show who have completed both courses, and so they're quite seasoned. Landa is going on to study digital cinema work at New York University, so super proud of her. And these are her digital collages. Landa is interested in expressing inner emotions through digital collage. How do you take images that you find online or that you take yourself and cut them up, disassemble them, and reassemble them in a way that goes beyond capturing physical likeness and starts to investigate the inner emotional landscape of, well, I would say a lot of them are autobiographical because they aren't specific people. They're more about the inner emotions of the artist than they are about individuals that are being photographed. All right, so here we have a piece by Lisa Zhang, and it's a digital collage. Lisa Zhang is also a veteran of the art program at Queen Margaret School. She did AP Studio Art drawing 2 years ago, and Lisa was also one of those students who maybe in grade 10, when she was starting out, she wasn't 100% sure if this was a direction that she was going to go with. She's one of those kids that, again, we talk about this mentor-student relationship, and I want to keep emphasizing that because it really is a privilege to be able to work with these students. And Lisa in particular taught me about resiliency and power of just dedication and sticking with it and working through, even when you feel uncomfortable, even when it's not going easy in the beginning. Dig in, be tenacious, be resilient, and it pays off. And I think Lisa is an excellent example of that. The level of sophistication and skill that I've seen in the last 2 years is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And I will always remember Lisa as, I think I'll always sort of reference back to her when I get students in grade 9 or grade 10 that maybe feel a little unsure about their skills and don't think they're quite good enough. I'm gonna call on Lisa and use her as an example of somebody who said, well, maybe I'm not that great starting out, but I love it and I enjoy doing it, and I'm just gonna dig in and I'm gonna see where it takes me. So now Lisa is going on to the University of Arts in London. I'm super proud of her, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for Lisa. Speaking of, when I go through this show really is a testament of young people sticking with their goals and working hard. And Mr. Monroe in chapel this morning brought up that quote, "Without effort there is no reward." And that's really what this show is about. This show is about students who have dug in, who have put in the time, who have put in the effort, and are now being rewarded with these future careers that are unfolding, and they're just at the launching pad. And I'm so excited for them. So Wendy is going to University of Victoria. She's been accepted into a jewelry and design program. And just the growth this year has been phenomenal. The level of time and effort and commitment and persistence that goes into each one of these watercolor pieces is phenomenal. It's mind-blowing. And I watch her work, and she gets into a state almost of calm and meditation, and I can see time kind of slipping away as she's working. And so, art is one of those things where it gives back, and it gives us a space where we can shut the rest of the world down, and time just seems to disappear. And I can see that happening for Wendy, and I'm really excited to see her design sense coming forward. And a couple of years ago I saw a show at the Vancouver Art Gallery of Galpé, and I keep thinking about the level of intricacy and exquisite detail in Galpé's work, and I look at Wendy's work and it's just fantastic. So I'm wishing Wendy all the best in that program, and I'm going to miss these kids. I've taught them for a number of years. Wendy, I remember having her in grade 7, and it's hard to say goodbye. I'm excited for them, but I'm also going to miss them very much, so I hope they stay in touch. We have here a digital painting by Carrie, and again, I've learned so much about new processes and new approaches to art making, especially in the world of technology where things are changing so quickly. And Carrie is one of those students who, again, not afraid to dig in, put in the hours, hardworking, and any new technology that comes, she's right on it, and she is just hours spent figuring it out, mastering it, to the point of she has to learn about how all the tool works before you can really feel like you can express yourself in that medium. So she puts in the hours to learn the technology so that she can express herself. And you can see here this rendering of a QMS student. And I asked Carrie, I said, who is this representing? And she said, that's me, Miss Andersen, as I fly off into the future. And it just gave me goosebumps. We've been really lucky this year to have a GAP student, Alexandra Paul, come and join us in the art program. And she's brought a level of energy and enthusiasm and assistance. I'm so grateful for all the work that she's done in helping out at the studio. There's a lot of materials, a lot of equipment, a lot of things to manage, and so Alexandra's been a huge help in that regard. But she's also taken up the opportunity to learn along with the students, and I know they've really appreciated that. And it's been a lot of fun. So Alexandra will have this piece to take home with her to help remember her time in Canada with us. This is another work by Carrie. Carrie's also on her second year of AP Studio Art. She's on her second course. Carrie did a drawing portfolio last year. Again, focused on nature and just exquisite detail. Carrie is moving on to the School of Visual Art in New York. We were very fortunate this year to have the opportunity to exhibit work at the Cowichan Valley Arts Council. It's the first year that we had a dedicated youth art show in a professional space, and we had approximately 35 pieces in that show, and our students, as you can imagine, just did great with the awards. I'm very proud of all the awards that they received. Many of the pieces in this show, many of the artists in this show were actually award recipients. Lisa's work was featured on the poster for the Cowichan Valley Youth Art Show. And this is not just an art show for Queen Margaret School. We dominated the show this year, but it will start to grow. So again, Queen Margaret School students are lighthouse students, leading the way, forging the path for other young artists in the Valley to showcase their work, to get involved in the community. And so it was a real honor for Lisa to have her image chosen to advertise that show this year. So we have a few pieces in this show that are by senior art students that are not currently registered in the AP program, although I'm definitely trying to rope them in. AP is an excellent opportunity for any student to really dive deep into an inquiry project of their choosing. It's not just for students who want to move on to a design school, it's also for students who just want to spend that time working on an independent body of work. The goal is to have 13 to 15 finished pieces by the end of the year. By estimation, I would say the students spend between 100 and 150 hours in addition to class time working on their portfolios. So one of the wonderful things about being in an art class or an art program is it's not defined what you do or the products that you produce. And it is a place where students can begin to define who they are and to ask that question of what do I want to say? What is my message? What are my experiences? There's no right or wrong. There's skills that can be developed. The emphasis, however, is on innovative, creative solutions that have meaning to that student. This is a piece by Una, and the assignment was not draw a raven or paint a raven. The assignment was to develop an independent piece that you felt a connection to. So Una decided to work with the image of the crow, I think it's a crow rather than a raven, and had no idea how to do oil painting. And so once a student makes a decision, then, and they're motivated to do that because it's their choice, then begins the work of researching the materials, mastering some techniques, and working with composition and design elements. And that's where my job as a mentor in the room comes in, is I simply act as advisor in helping the student reach their own goals. And I think she's done a marvelous job. It's so impactful. I've had this piece in the studio at the front of the room, and my desk is at the other end. And this crow has been staring me down for about a month now. I love it. Hugely impactful, very dramatic, And again, just working past that inner voice that says, I don't know how to do this, or I can't do this, has been really Yuna's growth this year, is getting past that sort of fear of failure and jumping in and going, you know what, I'm going to give it a try and check it out. It's fantastic. So having knowing what you want to do, or having that motivation piece taken care of, or being generated from within, is really important, because I believe as a mentor, as an artist, as an educator, that, well, I just ask myself, why do I want to learn? When I've learned something, why do I go through the energy and put in the time to master something? It's because something in me is driving me to learn that, and I have that motivation and I want to do it. And Arya is a good example of that, where she wanted to, through the camera lens, experience a sense of tranquility, of time, through mostly nature subjects, sky and trees. But in order to communicate in any visual language, whether it's photography or painting or drawing, there's certain basic shared vocabulary that needs to be understood in order to communicate or manipulate your message effectively. And so when Arya decided to work with natural subjects in order to capture a sense of emotion or move people, express herself, then it became, well, how do we do that using the language of design, using space and composition and texture and leading line and framing. And prior to embarking on this journey, Arya's also in the AP program. I'm not sure if she really would have broken down that vocabulary in that way. And so students, whether they continue on in a design field or not, this kind of understanding of the language of design and aesthetics is something that they're going to have with them the rest of their lives, whether they're appreciating a nice decorated room, or an outfit, or a vehicle, or going to a theater. I mean, the basic vocabulary of design is shared, is something we all experience in our aesthetic worlds, no matter what career we go into. So I'm really happy that she's working with that language now, and all of these students, whether they continue to produce art for themselves or as a career, they will always, my hope is that they will always have that appreciation and that ability to enjoy, truly enjoy the aesthetic experience of the world. No small task, right? So this show is a student mentor show. Like I said, I've been blessed to spend time with these young people, and I look forward to watching their careers and seeing them grow and develop. This year we've had the privilege of having a new faculty member join our school, Loretta Pauli, and I was really excited to welcome Loretta in particular because she's also got a background in visual art. And so early on in the year, you know, I said, hey, let's get together, and you really want to work with this AP group because they're awesome. And Loretta agreed. She said, okay, I'll do it. And so she's also shown resiliency, dedication, effort, hard work, and has been invaluable in mentoring this group of amazing students. So Loretta and I have both joined in with the kids to share our work and hopefully emphasize that relationship of creative exchange between young artist and educator. So there's a lot of exciting developments that are happening next year. The Art 10 to 12 program is moving into the modular classroom next to the Equestrian Center. We're taking over that whole space. I'm really excited to set up a graphic design area, a drawing and painting area, a media arts area, as well as some 3D sculptural processes. That whole building will be our new art center with this incredible view of the equestrian center and the magical forest. So we've got room to expand, we've got room to grow. We've been busting at the edges, and our art portable, affectionately our art portable, which I'll miss being in there, but it is time to move. We're growing beyond our capacity in that space. So if your son or daughter is thinking about doing an advanced placement program for next year, strongly encourage them to sign up. It's a journey of self-discovery and growth, and really challenges the students to work hard, and they get to see the results of their work in their pieces. Thank you, students. Many of you are moving on. I'll miss you very much, and stay in touch, keep us posted, and all the best. And thank you very much.